is focused on solving the exact problem we described. How do we make cross-border payments massively more efficient for remittances from corporates? We use a digital asset called XRP as part of that flow. And we use XRP because it's 1,000 times faster than Bitcoin transactions, and 1,000 times cheaper than a Bitcoin transaction. We think the utility of XRP is such that it's the most efficient digital assets to solve this problem around cross-border payments. So Ripple, the company, is really building on top of this open source ecosystem that I call the XRP ecosystem. And Ripple's building vertically on top of that as a payments company.
Now, you've signed up a lot of real-world clients, big banks as well, and they're using your X-Current products as well, but not necessarily using the XRP token, which has prompted a few people to ask, what's the value of XRP if it's not being used on a wide scale right now? How do you respond to that?
Well, the first problem that Ripple focused on is really engaging with those banks to solve a real-world problem for them. So we've been successful, as you mentioned, signing up over 100 banks using a product we call XCurrent. And XCurrent allows two banks to settle in fiat, but basically in real time. Today that takes days, it's very expensive, and it has a very high error rate, as high as 6%. So that works when there's two banks that are working together that already have fiat. If we wanted to go to a third bank where we don't have liquidity, where we don't have a pre-funded account, that's where a product like XRapid comes into play. XRapid uses XRP to fund real-time liquidity. So no longer do I have to pre-fund. There's trillions of dollars parked around the world, pre-funded between banks, between corporates at banks. If we can make those trillions of dollars more efficient, we make the entire global financial ecosystem more efficient.
And when do you expect that kind of product actually to be rolled out a little bit more? I mean, you've obviously done the initial work with getting some of those banks on board to the XCurrent product. So when does XRP begin to become more useful to those institutions?
So we launched XRapid, the product we were just talking about. We launched that as a beta product late Q3, early Q4 last year. We announced our first pilot customers on XRapid in late Q4. We announced 6 more in Q1. And these are big names in the remittance world, names like Western Union and MoneyGram and Mercury FX. These are companies moving a lot of money. And what we have found is that XRapid is saving them between 40 and 70% compared to their existing tools for managing and spreading liquidity around. So XRapid is doing exactly what we thought. We expect to go into production with that product, out of beta to production very, very shortly. And we think as we continue to move from a beta product to a production product, we'll see more and more banks, more and more other financial institutions get on board.
And that will be using the XRP token in order to facilitate these processes.
That's exactly right. The point I've made continually, as I've heard skeptics and really kind of spread misinformation, the point I've made repeatedly is if we can deliver a better product for a better price, banks and other financial institutions will get on board.